office politics, corporate politics, organizational politics, no matter how you may want to call it, I believe that there is a form of office politics in every organization, in every work setup, and in every business. Whether you are the receiving end or you're the one actively utilizing the power of office politics, we all need to understand what office politics is and how we can survive office politics. Welcome to the John Appiah Show. Today, we spend some time and we focus on office politics and what you need to know that will help you to be able to play on top of every form of office politics at your workplace. I would like to say a big thank you to all the viewers who have already subscribed to be part of the John Appiah Show. And if you are yet to subscribe, I encourage you to go to YouTube, search for the John Appiah Show, and subscribe to the John Appiah Show. Then you can have unfettered access to the knowledge and the information that we share on this show. I would like to say a very big thank you to all our sponsors. A big thank you to Koforidua Clinic, the A-League Consult, the African Chamber for Youth Development, our next guest TV show, and Morris Pepper Sauce. Thank you for your wonderful contribution to the success of this program. We'll be back shortly after this brief commercial break. Welcome to the A-League Consult. The A-League Consult is a human capital development organization that provides capacity building, skills training, and skills enhancement for individuals and businesses. What we seek to do is to bring to the table in-depth knowledge, insights that will help people to become better at whatever it is that they are doing. The A-League Job Search Incubator is an initiative of the A-League Consult and the African Chamber for Youth Development. The incubator provides the platform to bring together job seekers to provide for them training, capacity building, skills enhancement, coaching, and mentoring that will adequately prepare them for the job market. When you are part of the incubator, what you would gain is that after you have received the training and the coaching and the guidance and then all that, it adequately prepares you such that on your own, you are able to identify very good job opportunities and you are able to apply for these jobs on your own. We'll put together a pool of applicants that have undergone this training to become the go-to place that employers can actually come into the incubator to headhunt people to fill vacancies they have in their various businesses or organizations. How do you become part of the incubator? You need to just put together your CV and send an email with the CV attached to info@aleagueconsult.com. There is more to just waking up daily, going to work, and getting paid at the end of the month. Did you know that if you possess the right skills set, mindset, and the right network, you can rise up the corporate ladder into top leadership? Did you know that your progress and promotion is 100% your own responsibility? How do you take your career into your own hands? And how do you rise up the corporate ladder? Well, the answer is for you to be part of the A-League of Young Professionals. The A-League of Young Professionals is a network of highly ambitious and successful young professionals who are determined to become business leaders. Members receive training, capacity building, and direct mentoring from successful industry captains and C-suite executives on practical steps, strategies, and skills to help members make progress and advancement in their careers. The A-League of Young Professionals. Stay connected, be empowered, and rise to the top. Welcome back from the break. And remember that if you are yet to subscribe to the John Appiah Show, I will encourage you to do so as soon as possible so that you don't miss any of our very interesting and informative episodes. Today, we are focusing on office politics. And I would like to share some very interesting statistics with you so that you can get the foundation and the background to this conversation. Now, a research was done in the UK by a company called Adico. According to the research done by Adico, about 1/3 of UK workers cite office politics as a significant contributing factor to their unhappiness and feeling of unhappiness at the workplace. And the negative emotions associated with these feelings are evident at their levels of productivity that can be measured at the workplace. About a third of UK workers also spend every Sunday dreading the coming of the working week. And I'm sure that you have been in that position before where you dread going to work because there's a lot of things at play at work that sometimes makes it very uncomfortable to even think about going to work. No wonder a lot of people hate Mondays because Mondays actively starts the working week. And a lot of people dread the feeling of having a Monday and going to work. And it is all because of the influence or the impact or the results of office politics in some organizations. It is also interesting to note, according to the research, that about 28% of workers admit that they fear going to work. And as a result of that, a lot of them who have called in sick to the office have done so as a result of the fear they have of going to work. And it all boils down to the culture in the organization. It boils down to issues and matters of office politics. What does this mean for us? It means that it is important for us to be able to understand what office politics is and how we can play our cards well to ensure that we are always productive at work and we're able to achieve our goals and our objectives at work. What then is office politics? Now, office politics involves the intentional acts of influence to enhance or protect the self-interest of individuals or groups of people within an organization. That is a simple definition for office politics. It is the intentional acts of influence to enhance or protect the self-interest of individuals or group of people that works in the organization. There is this popular quote by one very interesting political philosopher. That's how I would like to address him or call him, Harold Laswell. He says that politics is essentially who gets what, when, and how. And at the bedrock of office politics, this saying makes a lot of sense because usually one of the major reasons why there's a lot of office politics in almost every organization is the fact that there is always competition for scarce resources. So as to who gets what in any organization, how and when, it plays out under the influence of politics. So for example, matters of salary. It is possible for you to have gone into an organization with the same one or two people that may have the same qualifications like you may have and even have the same number of years of experience. But you realize that when it comes to matters of salaries, we are all not paid the same at work. So what influences one person to get more than the other person? Apart from issues of competence and qualifications, obviously the undertones of office politics also plays a critical part. You may work in various departments in the same organization, but when it comes to budget allocation or allocation of funds, you realize that some particular departments have more funds or have access to more funds as compared to other departments. The key question to ask yourself, is it that when they go for the budget allocation meeting, certain departmental heads have a lot of influence and they are able to negotiate and ask for more? Why does it happen that some departments are essentially underfunded as compared to other departments in the same organization? Again, there are undertones of office politics. Also, the quest for positions in organization or in organizations. Who wants to be the head of this? Who wants to be the director in charge of this? Who wants to be this or that or this or that? It is beyond just your qualification and your experience and your competence. There may be some undertones of politics that would determine who heads which department or who is given this particular role or this particular position in the office. It is also interesting that sometimes, even if you look at the office setup in itself, the quest for space is also an implication of office politics. What do I mean by that? So you go to a particular office and you realize that the boss or the head of that particular office or department obviously has a bigger desk and has a bigger chair most of the time, not in every situation, but most of the time. So the question you ask yourself is that, what determines even the kind of space that I have? I want to be closest to the entry or to the point where people enter the organization. I want to sit at a window. I want to do this, or I need this particular space. I need a bigger office space and all that. I need a bigger laptop, or I need a desktop, or this or that. It is all about the quest to get resources allocated in the organization. And the undertones of office politics comes into play in making some of these decisions. Now, the other issue too is that sometimes too, there are people in the organization who, in a quest to become very famous or popular in the organization, would want to resort to the use of office politics as a way of coming into the limelight without necessarily adapting the techniques of diligence and hard work. People will use all manner of schemes and strategies and tactics just to become the go-to person in the organization, just to become a very influential person in the organization. The other times too, there are people who would want to rise within the shortest possible time without going through the mandatory experience and exposure that most people would need in order to rise in any organization. So there are people who are just recent, or they have just been recently employed, but in a matter of months, they want to become superior people. They want to become the go-to people. They want to become the people that everybody would like to associate with or affiliate with. How do they do that? Most of the time, they employ the tools of office politics as a way of rising to the top quickly and within the shortest possible time. Another reason that may lead to the use of office politics most of the time is when there is lack of proper supervision at the workplace. In any organization where there is no structure or form and anybody does whatever he or she wants without any reprimand or any repercussions, obviously people that understand the power of office politics are able to quickly take advantage and push and do things in their own interest. So where there's a lack of supervision, it can also result in the heavy use of office politics. There are times too that there's too much gossip at the workplace. This person talks about this person to the other person who talks about that other person to this person, and then it's on and on and on like an endless chain. And that can also be an undertone or a reflection of office politics. Also, there are instances where you have arrogant superiors or heads or supervisors who don't want to talk to their subordinates, who don't want to have anything to do with their subordinates. Now, in that instance, what happens most of the time is that workers will have to define or devise ways and strategies they can get the attention of these so-called arrogant supervisors. The other interesting issue too is that sometimes you may have a bunch of jealous colleagues at the workplace, and because they just don't like you or they are envious of your role in the organization or the influence you bring to bear in the organization, they will do everything possible to undermine you and make sure that your work becomes useless. And that again can be a manifestation or expression of office politics. So the other interesting thing you need to understand is that there are people who believe that there is no office politics at play in their workplace. But when we come back from the break, I'll draw your attention to some signs or some certain happenings that would indeed let you be convinced that there is office politics. And the earlier you understand the office politics and you take advantage of it for your own good, the better it is for your career and for your profession. We'll be back shortly.
Welcome to the A-League Consult. The A-League Consult is a human capital development organization that provides capacity building, skills training, and skills enhancement for individuals and businesses. What we seek to do is to bring to the table in-depth knowledge, insights that will help people to become better at whatever it is that they are doing.
The A-League Job Search Incubator is an initiative of the A-League Consult and the African Chamber for Youth Development. The incubator provides the platform to bring together job seekers to provide for them training, capacity building, skills enhancement, coaching, and mentoring that will adequately prepare them for the job market. When you are part of the incubator, what you would gain is that after you have received the training and the coaching and the guidance and then all that, it adequately prepares you such that on your own, you are able to identify very good job opportunities and you are able to apply for these jobs on your own. We'll put together a pool of applicants that have undergone this training to become the go-to place that employers can actually come into the incubator to headhunt people to fill vacancies they have in their various businesses or organizations. How do you become part of the incubator? You need to just put together your CV and send an email with the CV attached to info@aleagueconsult.com. There is more to just waking up daily, going to work, and getting paid at the end of the month. Did you know that if you possess the right skills set, mindset, and the right network, you can rise up the corporate ladder into top leadership? Did you know that your progress and promotion is 100% your own responsibility? How do you take your career into your own hands? And how do you rise up the corporate ladder? Well, the answer is for you to be part of the A-League of Young Professionals. The A-League of Young Professionals is a network of highly ambitious and successful young professionals who are determined to become business leaders. Members receive training, capacity building, and direct mentoring from successful industry captains and C-suite executives on practical steps, strategies, and skills to help members make progress and advancement in their careers. The A-League of Young Professionals. Stay connected, be empowered, and rise to the top. Welcome back from the break, and I'm sure you are really enjoying this on office politics, because you see it is virtually everywhere you go. So like I was saying to you, I would like to draw attention to certain happenings in the office that should also draw your attention to the fact that indeed there's office politics at work. So for example, if you work in an organization or an environment where there's constant attack and blame, or there's always at play what we call the blame game. This one is accusing this one of doing this, and this one is blaming this one for doing that. Usually, that should draw your attention to the fact that there is office politics at work. Also, sometimes people deliberately withhold information, or they use information as a tool to rise to prominence or power or influence. So in certain organizations, if you need particular information, there's a go-to person you need to see in order to get that information. And when that person is absent or the person is not at work, it is difficult to have access to that same level of influence or that same level of information. Also, when you work in an organization where people withhold information and use information to their advantage, something that should be open information for people to know, it is particular people that hoard all these pieces of information, and you need to necessarily go to them to get that information. That can be a reflection of office politics. Then there are people that spend all their times and energies developing a support base in the office. So they may not be necessarily productive, but they put in all their efforts to be able to get some key people on their side. So whether they are buying food for people at the canteen or doing favors for people, they do all these things in order to be able to get for them a certain support base, so that if there's any issue with regards to their productivity or their work, they know that there are people that will speak for them. There are also people that use the tool of sycophancy as a way of rising in any organization and exerting influence. What it means is that there are people that are just bootlickers. They are just people that sing praises to their bosses. So you may have a colleague who doesn't really do anything, but is virtually untouchable in the office. You know why the person is virtually untouchable? Because the person is always singing the praises of your boss. So anything your boss does, boss, this is excellent. You are smart. I've never met such an intelligent boss. Wow, what a beautiful idea. It's because of you that the company still exists. You know, so such praise singers who don't have any idea as to what they are saying, but because they want to be in the good books of their supervisors and their bosses, they are always constantly singing praises. Then there are other people too who will intentionally do favors for you so that it will get to a point where you may have to return their favor. So it is not their duty, for example, to do this particular work in the office, but because they need you or they need you to be on their side, they will spend some time and help you to finish your work, because they know that once they help you to finish your work, you'll be obligated to also help them. There are people who come and ask you where you stay and all that information, and you may not have a car or you may not have access to easy transportation, but they will be there to pick you up in the morning and make sure that they go with you back to the house. Ask yourself, why are they doing all these things? Some may have the ulterior motive of gradually winning you onto their side, so that when it becomes necessary, you may be there to fight for them. Now, the thing I want you to understand is that office politics, one way or the other, affects issues of productivity. And until you understand and appreciate what office politics is and how you can effectively play this game of office politics, your career and your profession at a point may be subject to the influence of office politics. What I want us to understand is that sometimes the issue of office politics is not just about the people in your office. Sometimes it is about the other stakeholders who are not necessarily in the office. So I remember I used to work in an organization where board members who were not everyday workers could pick a phone and call the boss and say that, well, this particular officer or this particular worker, I have a problem with the person, or there's this issue with the person. And by the time you realize, you begin to receive certain treatments in the office that you don't understand where the source is coming from. For all you know, it is another interested stakeholder who's not necessarily your colleague at work who is influencing or championing that cause. There are times too that even suppliers, especially for the businesses that do a lot of procurement, suppliers can be active players in the office politics game, because they know that, well, for me to continue getting my contracts and my supply, I need to ensure that the interest of this particular person is protected in the office, and people will do everything possible to ensure that they protect the interest of those who protect their interests. It is interesting, but that is the truth of the matter. So there are even instances where customers or clients can be actively involved in the issue of office politics. So there are some key clients that your supervisors and your managers don't play with at all. And when you begin to get into the bad books of these key clients or these key customers, it can really affect your work or the work that you do. I know of instances where customers make unnecessary complaints about particular workers because they are maybe stricter, or they will ensure that the right thing has to be done. They are not ready to cut corners. They are not ready to short-circuit the system. And because of that, key customers or clients, as a result of them not being happy with these people, have influenced their superiors and their supervisors to essentially cut the wings of some of these very productive and some of these very hard-working workers or hard-working, people, employees, as you may want to call them. And all these things is as a result of the influence of office politics. So you see, you need to take this issue of office politics seriously. Don't just limit yourself to the fact that, well, it's just about my colleagues and my supervisors. Sometimes it is beyond your colleagues, it is beyond your supervisors. It could be the influence of key customers or key clients. It could be the influence of suppliers. It could be the influence of board members or external stakeholders, and even the media at a certain point or a certain time. So all you need to know is that there is office politics in every organization. So what we are driving at on the show today is just to introduce you to the fact that there is office politics at work in every business, in every setup, whether it's a hospital, whether it's a hair salon, whether it's any corporate organization, there is always office politics at work. And it is important for you to be able to understand and appreciate the extent to which office politics can influence your career or your profession. And then you can learn how you can take advantage of office politics and to be able to push, or as it were, achieve your goals and your objective. On the next episode of the John Appiah Show, we'll look at how you can utilize or take advantage of office politics to be able to ensure that you're able to achieve your targets and you're able to stay productive in the workplace. So please remember that we are open to your questions. We are open to receiving your experiences and sharing with the rest of our audiences. And to engage and interact with us, please look for Ask John Appiah on Facebook. And then you can send your questions, your comments, and share your experiences with us. And we'll gladly share it with the rest of the world. I also want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, the Ailey Consult, the African Chamber for Youth Development, Koforidua Clinic, our next guest TV show. I'd like to also say a big thank you to all our producers and the people in our production team for their support as we work very hard to bring you the content that will help you to become a better person at your profession or in your career. Thank you, and see you on the next episode.